competition that is part of Carnegie Mellon Spring Carnival. The two main things are the buggy races and booth. What a booth is it is a 16-foot by 16-foot wooden structure that people can go into. I like to think of it as you're waiting in line for a ride at Disneyland. As you're waiting in line, there's all these interactive features, and like all of the walls and decorations are very like crafted to kind of get you into the atmosphere and environment. Every year, the Spring Carnival Committee picks an overarching theme for Spring Carnival. This year, it was Arcade, Let the Games Begin. And our organization did Animal Crossing, which is a Nintendo game.
Leading up to Build Week, usually starting in January or so, booth organizations have these build workshops where you basically try to do as much as you can before midway, where you need to assemble everything in 1 week. So this includes like painting the sheathing that goes on the walls, painting murals, making the frames that support the booth, and making the props that go inside and make it feel like a home. So move on is when we bring all the pre-built things like our frames onto the plot where we build, which is called midway, which is in between Posner and the fence.
I served in the military. In the military, there's this thing called conveyor belt, human conveyor belt, to pass like stuff out to people, and that was efficiently happened during the move on. So people are unloading from the truck. There's like one line to move the paint, one line to move the like construction materials, and one line to do like put other stuff like tools. That was happened really efficiently.
During actual move on, seeing all of our people in one place was really important. How smoothly move on went, especially with like the delays and everything, it gave me a lot of confidence from like a period of turmoil to actually like jump fully into Build Week and feel good about like what we were actually setting out to do.
All right, SDC ready? SDC go!
I think it takes a lot of people to build a booth, 10 to 20 people around the clock during midway to like actually make the booth stand up.
I just dedicated to spend like every hour I could out at Build Week. So I was there at 9 a.m. every day, probably staying until 11 most nights or 2 a.m. some nights.
So much time, too much time. 12 hours a day, 15 hours a day.
I had 90 hours on midway and over 100 hours that week just working on stuff. I think I only went home to sleep and shower, so.
I think the biggest issue that we had was just like everyone's under a lot of stress. Everyone's stretched pretty thin. You're basically running a massive endeavor with very little oversight. But something that helped fuel the fire was like, as we started putting up more things, seeing the amount of progress we made compared to other works was encouraging, and then B, having people come by, like either from Midway, other parts of Midway, and come by and look at our booth and like point at it and gawk at it with their friends, that was really encouraging.
I didn't know at that time, but apparently it was like record levels of rain. So like building through that and managing that was horrible.
We had a decorative roof on our booth. It was like a roof like of a house. So we were trying to get that up within the rain, and I was like, me and Mahir were like on the roof just trying to screw it in so that it was covered. So that was like the only moment of like panic, I would say, but we definitely finished that before the rain got like really bad.
The first reaction was like, oh my god, we're done. Like, I get to go sleep now.
To see it come to life with everything moved in, nails cleaned off the ground, that type of thing. It was really, really touching. Once you see people coming through, and it's like, despite the rainy day, like there were so many smiles and engagement.
Especially Saturday, when the weather was nicer, seeing people like consistently having like a super long line to visit our booth, hearing like, oh my god, this is so cute, this is just like the game. Those things definitely helped make it feel worth it, and make like the rain battle worth it as well.
We were kind of like on the high horses. Like we finished the booth, we were looking very competitive, but like maybe an hour before the awards ceremony, we were starting to doubt ourselves, being like, what if they didn't check the rubric correctly? We were the first booth to be judged, so maybe they graded us harshly. And all the doubts started crossing our minds.
I think with the product that we put out and with the feedback that I had been hearing, I had at least hoped that we would place.
So we went in, independent org, third place, pretty predictable. Then we were like, oh, we're top 2.
Independent second place goes to ASA with Lisa.
And then they announced second place, which wasn't us.
I was like, oh my god, we could be first or we could be fourth. And that is really nerve-wracking.
First place goes to SDC.
They announced us, and we were like, wow, awesome, we won. Screaming, crying, got the trophy, went back down, and then as we were like, we got to calm down because they announced sorority and fraternity, and we were like, oh, we don't care about overall, it's fine, we already won independent, it's fine.
The first ever overall winner. The first ever overall winner goes to Student Dormitory Council.
Student Dormitory Council, and my mind just like went blank. I couldn't believe it.
It felt deserved, but at the same time, it was still like, oh my gosh, this is the first time, this team has built a one-story booth before, and it was a success.
I definitely felt some sadness. I mean, we worked so hard on it, through rain, through tornado warnings, through flood warnings.
So there was an amount of pride and joy that had went into building everything.
It really felt like a part of my life had just been like stripped away for a second.
There's a Buddhist saying that you make this delicate thing and then you destroy it at the end, but that's like the cycle. Even though you take all this time to build the constructions, by tearing it down, it kind of gives a sense of nothing is permanent. But that also means there's always a point to build one better. So even though it was tear down, it felt sad, but it gave me a sense of there's gonna be next time.
I wrote in my notes, I feel like one of the main joys of Booth for me was just the being able to produce something rather than just designing something.
Having like my own, I guess, design or idea and watching it come to fruition and having that passion be shared amongst like a lot of other members and seeing other people being really inspired and passionate about like the same project.
The legacy, I would say. For freshmen to hear from their upperclassmen, oh, we did Booth this year, it was so hype. Like that kind of word of mouth gets to you and you are kind of convinced maybe on your first year, like, hey, let me just do it because it's a CMU thing. But then after Carnival, after the award ceremony, after everything happens, you're kind of going back being like, I want to do this again next year.
Being out there on Midway, like seeing all the other orgs like building, it's great to see like how much people contribute their own time, like fully voluntarily, like they're not getting paid, and seeing how many people come out to build, kind of like this shared passion, the camaraderie that people feel with it.
Finishing off Friday and being like, yeah, we built a booth, and like celebrating with everyone. Like the award ceremony, cool as hell, don't get me wrong, but like having the experience of actually doing the booth and like, you know, making something that was like, look, I can share this with my friends and be really proud of everything that went into it, was like the best feeling.
Come to see Booth more as like the real gift is the friends we made along the way. Just the way that our team worked rather than like the actual product itself. The booth itself is like a very big like accomplishment, but the reason why we ended up winning is because of how well our team worked with each other despite the little hiccups along the way.
Working through late nights trying to debug an electrical issue. Waking up really early just so we can put roof on. Through all the pain and suffering, it's like those memories are what sticks with me like going throughout the year.
Overall, it's like it's just another thing to do. I think like looking back, you're not gonna really appreciate your college experience grinding in gates every day at 9 p.m. And although doing Booth would make your work a lot worse, you're probably in 20 years gonna look back and be like, wow, I really did that with all those people. It was really cool.
SDC ready? Ready!